Today, we're diving into a really provocative essay from Y Combinator's Paul Graham. It's called Founder Mode. And its core idea is pretty radical. For decades, we've been giving our most brilliant founders the absolute worst advice on how to grow their companies. So Paul Graham kicks off his essay with this line, and it's an incredible hook. I mean, this is Ron Conway we're talking about, one of the most legendary investors in Silicon Valley. The man has seen it all. So what could possibly be happening that would make him, for the first time ever, put down his pen? Well, the person speaking was Brian Chesky, the co-founder of Airbnb. He got up on stage and shared this dangerous secret. He confessed that as Airbnb got bigger, he did what everyone told him to do. He followed the standard playbook for scaling a company, and it almost killed it. And then, you know what happened? One by one, other top founders in the room got up and said, yeah, that happened to us too. And right there, that's the central mystery we're going to unpack today. Why is the standard playbook, the one that VCs and business schools preach, failing so badly for the very people who actually build these amazing companies from scratch? And here it is. Here's the prime suspect. This piece of advice sounds so reasonable, doesn't it? Hire good people and let them do their jobs. It's the golden rule founders are told they have to follow if they want to scale up. But as we're about to see, this seemingly harmless advice, well, it has a really dark side. Paul Graham actually has a name for this conventional and, as it turns out, pretty dangerous way of thinking. He calls it manager mode. And it's basically the default operating system for almost every big company out there. Okay, so in manager mode, the idea is to see your company as a collection of neatly arranged black boxes. The CEO's job is to give instructions to the box, to their direct report, and then just wait for something to come out the other end. You are explicitly warned not to open the box to see how it works inside, because that would be micromanagement, the ultimate sin in the corporate world. But here's the harsh reality. According to Graham, based on what founder after founder told him, when you're not allowed to look inside the box, you end up creating the perfect hiding place for people who are brilliant at managing up, but terrible at actually getting anything done. They become, in his words, professional fakers. And the founder is the last to know that the company is careening towards a cliff. So seeing this same catastrophe play out over and over again led Graham to this really powerful realization. It's not that there's just one way to run a company. Turns out there are two. And the second one, the one the best founders were figuring out just to survive, he calls founder mode. This chart really just lays it all out, doesn't it? Manager mode is all about delegation, abstraction, treating teams like those black boxes. Founder mode is the total opposite. It's about breaking those boxes wide open. One avoids the how, the other lives and breathes the how. It's a playbook made not for someone who just got hired at a company, but for the person who literally willed it into existence. And this is the craziest part. You can't go to Harvard to get an MBA in founder mode. It doesn't exist. There are no textbooks on it. Until now, it's been this unwritten, almost secret knowledge that founders like Brian Chesky had to figure out the hard way, usually while everyone around them was telling them they were doing everything wrong. So what does it actually mean to be in founder mode? Like, what does it look like on a Tuesday afternoon? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and talk about the rules you have to be willing to break. First, you have to understand the emotional side of this. Founders who are stuck in this middle ground often feel completely disoriented. Graham uses the word gaslit. And that's because on one side, you've got your investors saying, hey, stop meddling, act like a CEO. And on the other side, you have executives telling you, don't worry, everything's fine, even when your gut is screaming that it's not. You are literally being told to distrust your own instincts. So the very first move in founder mode is to just completely shatter that black box model. You, the founder, reserve the right to open any box at any time and see exactly what's going on. All of a sudden, that rigid org chart, it becomes more like a suggestion than a set of rules for who's allowed to talk to whom. So in the real world, this means doing all the stuff that's totally forbidden in manager mode. It means having regular one-on-ones with an engineer who's 3 levels down from you. It means diving headfirst into product specs, personally reading through customer support tickets, and yeah, getting your hands dirty in the how. Because for a real founder, the how is the whole game. And there's probably no better example of founder mode in action than a legendary practice from Steve Jobs at Apple. It was a move so radical, so completely against the manager mode playbook, that almost no other company has ever had the guts to try it. So every year, Jobs would personally pick the 100 most important people at Apple for this super exclusive retreat. And here's the kicker. It was not the 100 most senior people. A junior designer working on a crucial new feature could get invited over their own boss. Can you even imagine the political drama that would cause in a normal company? But for Jobs, it was a way to cut through all the bureaucracy and make a giant company feel like a small, fast startup again. So what does all of this mean? Where does this leave us? Whether you're a founder, a product manager, or just anyone trying to build something cool today. Let's talk about what this new way of thinking really implies. Now, it is really, really important to get this right. This is not just an excuse for chaotic micromanagement. Gray makes it clear it's way more sophisticated than that. Obviously, a founder can't run a 2,000-person company the same way they ran a 20-person one. The key difference is this. In founder mode, autonomy isn't a right, it's something that has to be earned. As a manager proves they're excellent and trustworthy, the founder will naturally pull back. The boundaries are fluid, not fixed. Graham closes out his essay with a few predictions and, maybe more importantly, a few warnings. First, he predicts that once we all start talking about this, we'll look back and realize that founders we used to call eccentric or control freaks were actually just pioneers. But he also warns that this idea is going to get misused. Bad delegators will hide behind it as an excuse, and CEOs who aren't founders will try to copy it without the intuition, and probably just make a huge mess. And this all leads to one final, really powerful question. Just take a second and think about what founders have already accomplished. They've built these world-changing companies while fighting a constant headwind of bad advice telling them to be someone they're not. So what could they do if that headwind finally went away? And that is the provocative thought Paul Graham leaves us with. He writes, imagine what they'll do once we can tell them how to run their companies like Steve Jobs instead of John Sculley. The founder who saved Apple versus the professional manager who nearly ran it into the ground. What new heights could we reach then? It's a powerful idea for anyone building the future.